dude, pull your pants up. At least pull your pants up.
Can you see my butt?
I don't know, but why does it seem so dark in here on the screen? Maybe it's just my screen. I don't have my thing plugged in, so maybe that's what it is. Anyways, hello. Alex Sturgeon here for another HobbyPlex After Hours. Tonight, I'm going to be putting a new motor in my crawler. There's actually nothing wrong with the motor that I have in it right now. I just want a little bit faster of a motor, just a little bit more wheel speed. So I finally broke down and got myself a new motor. And you're going to watch me struggle how to put that in there tonight, as it's been a long time since I messed with the transmission on this truck. And then I'm actually going to be bugging out a little bit early because Comet Neowise is quite visible right now. And we're going to go out in the country with some binoculars and check it out. So probably going to get out of here probably about 10 o'clock or so Central Time. And so it gives us about an hour. So should be really good. So what are you saying?
Can I put that motor in that?
No, you're fast. Your motor's actually faster than this one.
Really?
Yeah. So I got my soldering iron all hot and ready to go. And I'm just going to see if I can get this motor out of there really quick. Other than that, my crawler's good to go. We're having a crawler event at the Plex, I believe, on Sunday. And I actually asked for that day off. Did not get it because we also have the TCS race to my championship series, and they need all hands on deck for that one. So I'll be working and then doing that. So Joel's on here and he asked this question during our podcast, and we didn't get a chance to answer it. But he asked, "Can you race RC cars for a living?" And the realistic answer to that is maybe. So in order to actually legit be able to make enough money to support yourself racing RC cars, you have to be one of the few in the world that are able to be fast enough on a consistent basis. So you're talking like Ryan Mayfield, Jared Tebow, Ryan Cavallari, Ty Tessman, Dakota Fend. So, and to do that, you do have to kind of, you have to show your stuff. You have to be able to make mains at nationals and all that stuff. And then, even then, most of those guys don't really work on a salary. There's a handful of them that do work on salary, but most of them just do contingency. So, when I was a LOSI guy, part of the contract had contingency money in there. And, for winning the Worlds, I mean, you get a decent chunk, it could be, depending on if you're running the right equipment, it could be, $10,000 to $15,000 for just one race. So if you go to a bunch of races that are contingency races and you're able to make A mains and put that together, you probably could support yourself pretty well. The problem with that is that if your skills start to lack, or if better people come along, it's not a sure thing. There are some guys that work at the company they race for in other ways, and you can kind of do it that way. Or you can just find something to do within the industry, work at a hobby store, become an engineer and a product manager for a company, develop and get new stuff. There's all that sort of things that you can do, but to race RC cars for a living, it takes a lot of, it takes quite a amount of skill to get to that point. So that's the real answer to that one. I would say maybe on the no side. Have you ever heard of Ryan? Yes, I've heard of Ryan Harris. I've watched a few of his videos. I'd like to meet him one day. I think that'd be kind of cool. So I'm going to try to cheat. I don't necessarily want to take my transmission out to change my motor. I might have to, but I'm going to try to cheat and not do it that way. and hope that it works out. And I also don't want to strip the heads of these screws. So we're going to, there we go. We're going to see if we can do it without taking the tranny out. And if I have to, I will. So we'll just see what happens here. Eventually, one of these days, now that I got a good light, what I'd like to do is I'm going to try to get a second camera and try to do learn more OBS Studio and see if I can get eventually kind of a more professional look like we kind of do with our podcast. My sister does all that, so maybe she can help me get that all figured out. Let's see. Nah, okay, fine. Jackson's on here. Joel, I do try to do them every Thursday. Last week, one of the guys at work called in, and so normally I'm off at 8, and I try to get out of there a little early sometimes, unless we're really busy. And last week, because I had to stay, count the drawer, close the store and all that stuff, it ended up being right. I couldn't do it last week because I got home at like 9 o'clock and I was exhausted and I wanted to kind of take the night off because of that. So, but normally After Hours is a normal Thursday thing at 9 p.m. every Thursday at 9 o'clock Central. So, woo, that is dirty. Might as well clean that off and maybe even kind of re-grease the drive shafts. The cool thing about the Element is, a lot of these trucks only have plastic drive shafts, and they twist off pretty easily. And I have not had anything like that happen with these. These have been really tough, so it's pretty nice. So my son and I were taking video of him jumping our one of our ramps in the front yard, and we got him in slow-mo. So I am actually going to keep this motor around because this is the actual stock motor that came with the ready-to-run Enduro. I got this thing in May of last year. Actually, Team Associated sent it to me, so I pretty much got it right when they came out. And this motor's been just trucking right along. And I'm looking at the comm inside of there. So, I mean, it still looks fairly fresh. I don't think I'm overly hard on motors and stuff too for crawling. So, yeah. So I think I'm going to hang on to this. So I got a drawer back here that has a bunch of electronic junk in it. So there's all sorts of speed controllers and motors and all that stuff. And it's kind of what I got. Cole's on here. Those are dope. Are those the new Machete V2s? Why, yes, they are. They are. They're pretty awesome. They're red. And so I did make a change. I was running SSD Assassins, which I liked a lot. They were bronze, and then I saw these pop up on our A-Main distributor, and it was kind of like, dude, I totally want to get some of those. So, yeah, so I got those, and they're pretty awesome. It's kind of a dark, flat red, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So my body is about done. So I noticed the other day. So this is a Proline metric body, and I got the team associated flatbed for it. But you can see right here, yeah, body's about a year old. So I'm thinking I'll probably just take all the stuff, the windshield wipers, the light setup, the front bumper that Bob from Bob's Bodies made for me, and I think I'm going to get a new cage, and I'll probably get another metric body and get that painted up. And I'm going to use a little bit darker red so that it actually matches this red, and it should look really good. I hope. I think it's going to look really good. So I'm going to need that. Jackson, you're not supposed to spill the beans, dude. You need to learn when not to say anything. So I got a Holmes Hobbies, the 540 Trailmaster, Crawlmaster Sport 13 turn. We sell these a ton at the store, and I've wanted to try them, so I'm just going to go ahead and mount her up, and I just want a smidgen more wheel speed. That seems like Emerson's got. We have an SCX10 too. That actually belongs to the store, and I've been kind of working on it. I added some weight to it, put some different tires on it, and put my old Element shocks on it. So I got the new. I actually put the Kashima coated factory team shocks on my Element, and man, they're so smooth. And the original shocks actually were pretty smooth too. So I went ahead and just put them on the SCX10, and I mean, sometimes I'm kind of jealous because that thing's much faster than this truck. So it seems like it can kind of, when it's in a jam and it needs to, blip and do a hop or even jump something, from a rock to rock, it almost seems like that's got more of it. So, yeah. So. I should have, the last thing that I need to do to this truck is put the factory team machined gears inside of here. But I've never had a problem with stripping these, so I haven't really even thought about getting that stuff. The only other thing that I think would do this is it would put the LCG a little bit lower too. So. Is the RC racing scene dying? Absolutely not. Our area in Omaha, Nebraska is going strong, man. It's I'd say it's better than ever. Our summer series always gets plenty of entries, lots of happy people. I think you have to be lucky to have a positive atmosphere and a nice facility, and a way to get new people into it. And I think that's what the HobbyPlex does. So we have our beginner class, Plex Spec, and I try to stay, positive and happy, and make the HobbyPlex a place where people can come and feel welcome. And I think everybody does a good job of that. So, yeah. Yep. That's what I think about that. It depends on where you're at. I mean, obviously, RC racing's always been a pendulum. 5 years ago, I think nitro was still really popular in the summertime around here, and now it's kind of the opposite. 10 years ago, electric. I mean, it was hard to race mod buggy. That's my favorite class, and it was hard to get people to come out for that. 20 years ago, 10 scale was awesome. Touring car was really big. I think you see these swings in interest, but one thing about us is we can do it all. So we kind of just go where we need to. 2 or 3 years ago, maybe 2. I think even 1 year ago, I think artificial surfaces were real big. I think there's been urge to get back to dirt. And you know, that's kind of where we're at. We're able to do both, carpet off-road and dirt. So I don't know. That's what I think about that. I forgot to take the pinion gear off because I'm dumb. So yeah, last round of the summer series. That's our Team Associated Reedy Powered Summer Series. It's year 7 of Team Associated being our title sponsor, and we've actually been doing the summer series since 2005. The very first year we ran it, you know, we were lucky to get 40 entries, right? And ever since about 2013 or 14, I think you can almost be guaranteed that we're going to get at least 150 entries per round. And round 1, we had 176, and that was because it was right after the COVID shutdown, and everybody was just jonesing a race. They wanted to get out there. This round 2, we had 158, and that's about average. That's about normal for us. And it's one nice thing about where we're at is you can always count on that. What if club racing's slowing down? You still have the summer series to look out to once a month, and even our winter series, same thing. Lately, our 8-scale winter series, which is sponsored by Techno, October through March, kind of the same deal. You're almost guaranteed to get at least over 100 entries, but most of the time we're getting like 140, 150 for a 8-scale race. So I don't know. We're doing something right, at least for now, I hope. So Jackson just brought up like a sand pit style. So I've actually had in my head for quite a long time, but it's expensive, and I think that's why I haven't done it yet. Instead of using sand, because sand just obliterates cars, right? I actually thought about doing a peat moss to simulate a sand pit. So you make like a corner, like a 20-foot box of a section, and you'd kind of dig a pit, right? Make it like, I don't know, 8 inches or so, and tamp it all in so it has a nice hard floor to it. And then you just load it up with peat moss, and you rake it out so that it's nice and flat. And then over the course of the race, you know, this is mainly for 8-scale. That would be like a loose section that would kind of simulate almost a sand section without the gnarly sand getting everywhere. I think that'd be really cool. But peat moss is expensive stuff, so that's why we haven't really done it yet. Bob's on here. Bob Hamilton. Hey, do you know if the comp this Sunday, it's still on, right? I haven't seen anything saying otherwise, because that's kind of what I'm getting from. So how much money have you made from ads? Not a lot. In fact, I got my first payment from YouTube not that long ago, and it was about $100, and that was after 3 months. So not a lot, but enough to kind of pay for a new light and order pizza. So one day I'll have thousands and thousands of subscribers, and there'll be more than 10 people on at one time on one of these live streams. And then maybe, you never know, I'll get more. Uh-oh. Hang on. Yeah. I did not. Huh. Okay. Okay. Yep. All right. That was work, folks. Oh, Ryan Harris is on here. Holy crap. I feel really cool now. Nice. Thanks. All right, so new motor's in place and just checking the gear mesh, and I think we're good. Thanks, Ryan. So Ryan Harris is somebody I've never actually met before in my my RC life, so maybe one day. It'd be kind of exciting. I am my family's actually planning on going to Beach RC in October, as long as they're having that race, that Masters of Dirt race. And I know that's kind of kind of your area, if I'm not mistaken. So I just got a Jackson mispronounced the word meat, so I'm going to show this to you. Yeah, dude, I'm excited for that. I always try to go to a big race like once a year if I can afford it, and usually I kind of save my pennies in the fall to see if I get into the Reedy race. And the last couple of years, I haven't gotten into the Reedy race. It's funny because my son 1 year was in, but I was like 190th on the waiting list. So it's like, you know, and I'm still at that point where if I'm going to go to a race, not race, that would totally suck. So I was like, dude, no, you're not. Nope, we're not going. So this year we were just looking around, and with all the COVID stuff going on and all these races that have been postponed and stuff, I saw a listing on or like a Facebook post showing that like Dakota and those guys are locked in for this year's Masters of Dirt race. And I started thinking to myself, dude, that's a race I should go to. So I'm definitely gonna. My family's basically saving up so that we can go. I think we're gonna drive. We were gonna fly, but my wife is worried about airlines like canceling our flights and stuff. So we might just make it a road trip. Start in Sunday and get there like Tuesday night or something. So I think it's gonna be fun. My son doesn't like that idea, but I think it's gonna be fun. So okay, so I'm gonna pre-tin my wires on my my crawler motor before I put it or before I try to solder it on. So yeah, and so Ryan just put that hotels are super cheap down there, and it's because it's off season, right? So late October, it's off season, and that's what Brent said. I asked him about the race, and he said one of the nice things is the hotels are cheap, so that's always good. My son and I actually went to OCRC in 2017, a couple weeks after the Reedy race, just on like a vacation. And I got us a hotel. Again, it was off season, so I got us a hotel pretty much right off the ocean, right there in Huntington Beach, for like $70 a night in California. So I was like really proud of myself on that one. Okay. So I shouldn't need any more solder. And probably the easiest way to get this guy in here. Like I said, one of these days we're going to have another camera in here somewhere just so you guys can see closer on what I'm doing. The only other problem is I don't have long enough cord. So I'm very unorganized right now. I'm definitely jealous of Ryan Harris's subscribers. I always see your videos and I'm like, oh man, holy crap. It's like One of my favorite YouTubers is Seth's Bike Hacks. He's a mountain bike guy. Makes really good shows, really. And it's crazy because he only has like, I don't know, I think like maybe 70 videos tops, but he's got like 2-something million subscribers. And when he comes out with a video within hours, it's got, just hundreds of thousands of watches. It's got to be great to see that if you're him, just knowing that you're doing something right. Damn it. I need pliers. Sorry, this is kind of way off camera, but it's pretty tight fit in here. So we're just chatting it up tonight. I also need to work on my 22X4. I plugged my battery in backwards and blew my capacitor on my hobby wing. Luckily, it was a G2 Elite, which has the protections, but I did bring another. I did get another capacitor to wire up, so that if I ever do that again, I don't risk ruining anything. Let's see. Is there any open practice this Sunday? No. This weekend is the Tamaya Championship Series. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, off-road track is closed. They do not want any dirt or nitro haze or anything like that being shuffled into the building while they're racing carpet. So this is one of those rare instances where the dirt track's totally closed. So we'll see how many entries we get for this. This weekend is the Tamaya Championship Series Regional. We were supposed to hold the Nationals again in August, but that has actually been canceled. So with there not being any tickets to Japan this year for the TCS because of all the stuff going on, it might hurt the turnout since there's really nothing to qualify for. But at the same time, man, they give such awesome goodies away for those races that even the TTO2 class, which is the pro spec or whatever, if you get first, second, or third, I think you get a kit, like a Tamaya kit. So it's still worth coming, and you don't pay an entry fee. It's all free. So we'll see what the turnout's going to be. Our normal winter turnout for that race is like 60 to 70 entries. I think if we get anywhere near 50, I think we'll be happy. We'll see what happens. Yeah, Burn Peak Express is another good channel. I watch both of those when they come up. It's pretty fun. In fact, he just posted one yesterday, I think. Or no, maybe that was his buddy. I don't know. I was in a haze yesterday. Yeah. Ryan's on here. And he's asking about round 3. I am. It's going to be a good time. The week before one of those races, I'm always spending a little extra time on the track, making sure the surface is just right. We put a lot more water on the track. Although with as hot as it's been around here, I've been watering a lot on the track, like sometimes twice a day. And I normally change something. I got one little thing to change for round 3 because I'm not going to do a lot because we just raced, and then we're not racing this weekend, and the next weekend's a club race, and then it's summer series again. So because we're not racing that much, I'm not changing a lot, but I got one little thing to change, and then it should be really good. So it's pretty much your favorite clay compound, Golds or MC if you're a Proline guy. And the last round I raced, I practiced Friday, broken tires for Friday practice. And then I ran qualifiers and mains on the same tire. And the track just builds up tons of grip and throughout the day. So, and I use this stuff called Stay Wet from VP that's made for real tracks, but I've started using it in the summertime pretty much every year because it kind of helps hold the track together, but it also helps build traction. So usually by the middle of the second round, traction shouldn't be an issue for anybody unless you get way offline. So no, there's no, it's not a crawler oriented anything. I appreciate the banter. So Friday or Thursdays are just kind of a free for all. Usually it's just whatever I feel like working on. And a lot of times lately I've just been gluing tires on this live stream, and that gets kind of old. So I always try to pick something else to do. Yeah. Yeah, I think in four-wheel drive you could probably get away with ghosted or maybe even slicks, but you got to be like in the line. I think if you get out of the line, we still have dust, and it's actually tire dust. And I don't really blow the track off every single heat. So I kind of let that dust kind of build up a little bit. And but that's kind of what the Stay Wet has also helped do, is keep it to a minimum. So slicks, I don't know, man. Slicks, you might be able to get away with it, but you got to keep it in line for sure. Brett's on here. So I just put in the Crawl Master Sport 13 turn. You know, the Enduro comes stock with these 16 turns. So I'm going to give it a shot. We'll see. We'll see what it feels like tomorrow. I'm going to take it back to the store tomorrow and take it through our course and see what it feels like. So, okay, so I got it all soldered in. So now we're just going to put it back together. And I might actually re-grease the drive shafts as well. So see what happens. There we go. My tires, I'm going to show you guys. So I don't know how well this is going to get picked up on camera, but those were very, very good for practice on Tuesday. And that was a couple days after the Summer Series race. I actually had Sunday and Monday off, so I didn't actually go to work at all. And when I came back, the garage doors had been left open probably for 2 days straight, so the track was super dry. So Tuesday, I watered the bejesus out of the track, and then I did some stuff, and then I came back, looked at it, and go, man, I could water this track again. So I watered it again, and then it was actually Wednesday morning. So that sat overnight, and then I worked on my car and on my wheeler, and just refilled the diffs and the oils and stuff. And I wanted to see how it felt, and those tires were money on that surface after that. So the cool thing is, as long as you break your tires in well enough, I think you can almost run whatever tread height you want to. You might lose a little bit of speed if they're too tall, but you definitely won't lose any traction. So yeah, I run golds. The guys have been flirting with silvers, and then when summer really hit, and I started using the Stay Wet again, it kind of makes golds work better. That's just what I think. I think they work better. I think they last longer too. When our track's brand spanking new, like if I do like a total rebuild, like one of our big races, like the HobbyPlex Spring Champs or something, and I do a brand new track build, and the track's really fresh, silvers definitely work better. And then as the track gets blacker and the groove gets more established, I still think that golds are in that situation. Tom was running silvers for round 1, but that was before it started to get really, really hot out. And I'm pretty sure he said he ran golds this last weekend, and he was untouchable. So he had probably one of his best races at the Plex, I think, this last weekend. So why is this not? Oh, maybe that's why. I got to get this screw out of the way. There we go. And put him on there. Hopefully. There we are. And we'll. There was tons of grip on the track on Saturday, so you could almost run kind of whatever you wanted to, and it wouldn't have hurt anything. Or you would have been fast regardless. Why is this not? There we go. I'd like to try gold slicks on the 4-wheeler in 13.5. I bet you I could pull that off. I'm just not. I'm not a huge fan of slicks, but I mean, if they work, they work. So I don't know. I'd like to try it. I actually got. I had gotten a pair of silvers, basically just to burn down the slicks, and then everybody was saying how silvers weren't working. So then I was like, well, maybe I'll just save it, you know. Okay, so that's good. And looks like everything's good to go. I'm gonna put my gear cover back on. Probably should have done that before I put the transmission back in place, but that's just the way that goes. Is there RC drag racing? Absolutely. In fact, Omaha's a pretty hopping town for drag racing. There's a couple different groups that come in and buy stuff constantly for their drag cars. There's some guys using the actual like rules, and they go to a place set up in a town about 20 minutes from here, and they've got a set of lights that count, you know, the red and green lights and everything, and they have kind of organized competition. And then there's a couple different families that just go to different smooth parking lots and pretty much just bet each other money for their cars. So they're constantly coming to the Plex, doing crazy stuff like putting gigantic 8-scale Castle Creations motors in their Traxxas Rustler, and running that thing like on 6 cells and stuff like that. It's bonkers what they're doing. Yeah, there's totally drag racing. I think the coolest part about drag racing is kind of what made the Traxxas Slash popular when it first came out, and that was that you had this vehicle that didn't look like anything before it, and because of the size of the body, you just had this huge palette to your canvas to paint on and to make stuff look really, really cool. And you can make it as scale as you wanted to, or you could make it, you know, as outlandish as possible. And I think that's one of the really cool things about drag racing is the bodies. So just making them, you got this huge canvas to work with, and you can just do a lot with it. And then I think what also makes that style of drag racing popular and is you don't necessarily have to have, you know, a prepped area for it. You don't have to have a $12,000 a month racetrack to be able to actually do what you're doing. You know, you can just go to an empty parking lot somewhere, and unfortunately, right now there's quite a few of them. So, you know, yeah, I knew it was called a tree. It just sometimes, words escape me when I'm trying to explain something. Okay, so that's done. And unfortunately, I left my radio at work, my controller, so I can't actually test it until tomorrow. But it's been sitting here on my bench. This was actually what I was going to do last week, and it just didn't work out that way because of the situation at work and everything. So, so this one's basically done. You can see that I'm ready for the comp on Saturday. Haven't done a crawling comp since last year. I think it was it October or something like that, that they had one of our local crawling groups had a group crawl, and I took first place. I was really happy. I was surprised. So we'll see how it goes on Sunday. I've done a lot to this truck since then. So the only thing that I might do differently to this truck, because I'm actually going to get a new one. I was thinking about buying it tonight, but I couldn't. So, but I am going to get an SCX 10.3 and build it all the way up. And so we'll probably be doing that one of these nights, putting that thing together here on After Hours. But I do need to get a new servo for this truck. So this servo is about a year old, and every once in a while I can feel it kind of give up, I guess. So I'm going to be looking at a new servo for this thing here shortly. But other than that, my Element's a beast. I love this thing. It's so much fun too, and it's fun to build stuff at the Plex. I think one of the best videos I got on YouTube actually is the indoor crawling course video, and I like building stuff both on the indoor and outdoor. So yeah. All right, I'm going to see if I can solder on this capacitor on my 22X4. Let's see. What would be a car to build into a drag car? So I think the Traxxas / Bandit setup is still really popular, and you could pick up used Slashes and even Bandits like super cheap. The low center gravity chassis for those things is $34.99 where we are at the Plex. So then you just got to get your electronics and the right wheels and tires or whatever. That Exotech 22 conversion is freaking awesome. It made me almost like keep my Losi car. I just sold my Losi car on eBay, and my 2-wheel drive, and I saw that conversion. I was like, oof, man, that would be pretty sick to make one of those. But I couldn't do it. I had to pay for some stuff, so I had to get rid of the car. But any one of those conversions would be pretty awesome, man. They're starting to make some really, really neat stuff. I don't know if and you guys follow. I think it's Tim Smith is the big drag race guy from California, the RC drag race guy. I knew him when he was sponsored by Novak. Yeah, it's Tim Smith. So, you know, I kind of follow some of his stuff and what he's doing, and he's got some neat stuff. I think the car is called an Aero, and it's just a lot of brass and a lot of carbon fiber on there. So, yeah, Jackson, I kind of agree. I actually do like the techno body as well, but luckily I'm sponsored by J Concept, so one day I'm going to get their 22X4 J Concepts body and get it painted up, and it'll look very similar, but it'll actually fit right. So I ran my Techno EB410 body. I go through cars like they're cans of soda, and I had my EB410 for about 3 months, and then moved on. But I always keep the bodies, because like every time you get a new car and you get a body, if you got your own paint scheme like this, it's like just add on like 40 or $50 to whatever you're doing, because that's what the paint job is going to cost. So I feel like I can't really get rid of those bodies, so I always keep them. And while this one was at the painter, I grabbed my EB410 body and kind of looked at it and said, oh man, I can make this fit. And I did. I made it fit, and it looked really, really cool. But it had to be chopped up a whole bunch. So this one will have to do. I do like the stock body, actually, the 22X4 body a lot. I think it looks neat too. So I'll get over it. Joel, that's the other thing. So Bob's on here, and he said that the DRX10 or the DR10 is awesome out of the box, and I happen to agree. The HobbyPlex has sold probably like 20 of those now, and I've only had one guy have any sort of problem with it. He shelled out the idler gear in the car, but he was one of those guys that was running way, way, way more power and battery than what I think was intended, and you know, we kind of got it figured out. So if you don't want to build one or have like a donor car type situation, the DR10 is a really good way to go from Team Associated, and they're coming out with that kit that you can build. So you'll just get just like if you went and bought one of these, you just build it up and then supply your own electronics and everything. So that's going to be a good way to go as well. Baton Rouge, Louisiana. There's isn't Flowood around? How close are you to Flowood? That's a pretty cool track in Louisiana, but I'm not sure how far away it is. I've never been there before. I just seen videos. I was going to go to one race, and then I didn't. And actually, Baton Rouge had an off-road track not that long ago. I think it closed, though. I don't know. I notice that stuff sometimes. Okay. So Jackson just asked how my B6 was the first race I had it. You ever get just like so exhausted that that when you finally get home and you shower up and you snuggle into bed and you take that pillow and you just kind of like cuddle with it, and it just feels super nice and just so comfortable and happy, and you fall right to sleep. That's what driving the B62 was like on Saturday. It was a comfortable experience. So personal driving style, I think that car is better for me. Four-wheel drive, this car is freaking amazing. So I like both. Timothy Smith from Michigan, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I was a little surprised that the race wasn't as close as it was, but dude, I was feeling pretty good on Saturday. Everything was just clicking right, and I could drive the car hard and not worry about it doing weird stuff, and I was just really happy on Saturday. So yeah, so right, I know. So the B74 diffs actually work in this thing too. I just decided I was going to race stock, so I have this set up for 13.5 wheeler instead of mod, and I really only club race with this thing. I'm not doing our summer series or anything like that. So that's one reason why I'm still running the slipper. Otherwise, I would have tried to get a hold of a differential. I still would like to get one though, eventually. Okay, I might save this for later because in about 10 minutes, my son and I are going to go chase after the comet. It's clear out, and we saw it last night, and I got binoculars now, so we're going to go chase after it here in a little bit. Oh, really? Ryan just posted that he does run a diff in his 13.5. I would imagine it'd be fine. That the diff would be great all the way around, no doubt. I just, I don't know. Part of it's just laziness on my part. This was like, I'll worry about it later. Okay. So I may pop this out of here without ruining it, hopefully. Come on. Yeah, I was gonna try a bigger battery in this car next week during practice for club racing, but this thing works so good right now the way it is. I'm running a ProTech 3600 small battery, and I just like how lightweight it is. But I don't know if I'd make an 8-minute race or not, or if it might make it, but it would be just slow at the end of it. So I don't know. Okay. So I got my little capacitor here, and I'm trying to decide if I want to wait to do this, because I might have to just take the whole speed controller out of the car so I can really do it neatly instead of screwing something up. Plus, I got like 8 minutes, so. Is it? I don't know. It's an Orca one. I actually had this, I blew up a capacitor on a Orion speed controller a while back, and I bought it for it, and then never actually put it on. So it was just actually lying in my box. I don't know. I just don't want to run it without one, because I'm nervous about being stupid again. And I even cut my wire short so that only one side reaches one side and the other side reaches the other side, and I still managed to plug it in backwards, which I never do. I haven't done that in years, and I did it like 2 weeks ago. And of course, it's my brand new speed controller that I bought. So I don't know, because you can turn this thing into hybrid mode where it'll run without it, but I don't know. I just didn't feel like it. Yeah, I think I'm gonna wait and call it good. I'll do it later. Either way, it'll be fixed, and I'll be ready for club racing on the 25th. By the way, I know some of you guys here aren't local. I love it. I love seeing new people on here. That's pretty awesome. We got Ryan on here. We got Timothy, and where's he at? Joel's on here again. But if you haven't signed up online yet for the 25th race, just a club race, you got to do it. Get on RC Sign Up and sign up, because if we get 50 people, not entries, but people, I'm buying Raising Cane's chicken catering for everybody. So we got to get that number. I know Jackson did. I know Rod Case did. I saw Peevler was on there. I signed myself up for and Emerson, and Aiden Olson, I know he signed up. We got to get like we got to get all those other regulars to get on there real quick and get that done. So should be fun. Tom Andrews on here from Tucson, Arizona. That's awesome. Yeah, the 25th. So Saturday the 25th. It's our only club race in July. So July ended up being really weird. We took July 4th off because it was July 4th, and then we had our round 2 summer series, and then this weekend is the Tamaya Championship race. So that nixes another off-road race. So the only club race we're going to have in July is next week. So I thought I'd do something special and throw that out there. Kind of. So Joel just asked if there's an app to track your lap times from your transponder, and yeah, if we use Lifetime, so you should just be able to jump on liverc.com, and you can go to live events, and then it takes you to this page, and you type in HobbyPlex or whatever track you're at, and as long as they're running practice, you should be able to find your lap times on there. And then, of course, all of us after the race, we all sit in our pits and look at who got fast lap and, consistency and all that stuff. And of course, I use that same page to kind of go over our results during our podcast too that we do on Mondays. So, yeah. Oh, Rudcase, thank you very much. So Bob, Bomi9320001, that's Bob Hamilton, and he paints bodies for pretty much everybody in Omaha. Gives him their bodies. My crawler actually is a Bob's, and I'll probably be handing him off another one to do for a crawler. And I'm in search of a Charisma Lexan Brat body for the 10 scale. So I looked on eBay and they got a bunch of them, but they're all for the minis. But I want the 313 millimeter Brat body, and that would be the only way that I would get rid of the cage on my crawler in the back, and or bed or whatever. So is if I found one of those Brat bodies. I was thinking about doing a Tamaya hard body, but I don't know. It's a lot of weight, and I've got that thing weighted just where I like it. So, yeah. Yeah, Drew, you need to get TJ. So Andrew's TJ Williams' uncle. He's one of our kids that races, and he's actually got one of my old cars, and he's got a 22X4 and a Losi truck. He's been getting better and better every single week. So we need to get him matching paint jobs for all of his cars now, so he can be cool while you're at the track. So, yeah, I think I'm going to put this off, and it's about 10 o'clock. And so my son and I, we're going to go chase comets. Like I said, we saw it last night, but we didn't see it with binoculars. I got a set of binoculars. We're going to go to our dark spot north. Yeah. Jackson Anderson, don't you live in Bennington, dude? You should come hang with us and look at the comet for an hour. We're going to be at 156th Street, just north of Cubby's. All right. So, yep, we're going to go chase comets, and I'll come back and I'll do this later. I got to make sure I remember to shut off my soldering iron. So, anyways, thanks for Ryan for coming on here. That was awesome. Seeing you on here. Appreciate that. Oh, Colton Tilley's on here. Haven't seen him in a while. But to all you guys, I think we got like 17 or 18 people on here at one time. So that's great. And appreciate it a lot. So anyways, I'm going to bail, and I'll see you guys. If you're local, I'll see you at some point this week, I'm sure. And if not, I'll definitely be back next Thursday. And also catch out our podcast Raw taping on Monday, where Will Brent and I do some nice chatter about stuff and all that. So, all right, I will sign off, and thanks again, guys. See you later.